All right, we have made it, ladies and gents, to SBG Podcast, episode 20. And today I'm very excited to bring my next guest, Mr. Chris Jones. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming all the way out here. I've been wanting to ask you all sorts of questions since I started up at the gym. So, Chris is the strength and conditioning coach at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. And I've seen his work on some of the coaches, like the before the fight, whenever they're doing their normal thing, and then they start training with you, and like the picture progression of them getting swole. I mean, it's a testament to how well he knows his stuff. So it's great. But let's dig into your history. Where are you from, man?
Yes, sir. So originally, I'm from Baldwin, Louisiana, up in St. Mary Parish. It's kind of like an hour away, I would say, from Scott.
Okay. And so, growing up, I know you had written these books right here about, well, this one particularly about bullying and stuff. And is that kind of what got you into martial arts and all that stuff?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, that was a part of it. So originally, I went to elementary school at G.W. Hamilton Elementary, very old. It's no longer there. But, yeah, man, it was like one day, because when I was a kid, right, I wasn't your typical average child. Every day once I came back from school, either my mother or my father would go ahead and say, hey, go and help this elder out with this. Go ahead and help that elder out with that, right? So I wasn't really, interacting so much with my peers, so to speak. And then it was one day my peers kind of had enough of that. It was four of them. They were like, hey, Chris, come and play. And I was like, no, y'all, I'm about to go over there, because I'm not about to not listen to my parents, because they I just didn't want to get disciplined. Mm-hmm. And so one day they ended up cursing me out, and I was like, no, I ended up cursing them back at them. I knew it was bad words.
It ain't going down like this.
Yeah, but it's not going down like this here. No, not at all. And the school was walking, so I would normally walk to school. It was probably maybe a football field away from my house. That's how it was up in the neighborhood. And yeah, man, next thing you know, I'm sitting up here, right, and I'm getting jumped. And
damn,
of course, right, I was bruised up, cut up a little bit. And so I ended up going home, and my parents still weren't there. And I was sitting up here, and I was like, no, some guy ended up changing. And I didn't really have too many friends, too much talking about, because again, I'm hanging out with my elders and everything. So I would turn on the cartoons. I would watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then it was when my parents came back home that night, they were like, hey, we gotta go to Walmart, get first aid and all that there, cover up the cuts and the bruises. Damn. And now granted, they don't have this now, but back in those days, they were talking about the early 2000s. Walmart, they would have the preview games.
Mm-hmm.
That you would go ahead, right, you would play it
where the TV was up here, and you're
right. Yeah. And so there was a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that came out. I think it was 3 days old. And I didn't know how to play the game, but I'm like, okay, cool. And I go to select Michelangelo. That's my favorite turtle. Mm-hmm. And I'm just playing the game with him, and I'm beating the game, and then everyone just started catching wind and catching on. And then my mother, she was like, Christopher, what you doing? I said, Mom, I'm not doing nothing wrong. And then the head of the electronics was like, ma'am, he just beat this game. It just came out. I'm giving him a game. I'm giving him a copy. I'm giving him a free copy. Yes. And I ended up having a free copy. And I'm not going to lie, Jacob. I was sitting up and I was playing that game. And I told my mama, I said, Mama, I want to do it. And so that ended up leading me, to karate. And I ended up starring that there. And then of course, right, from karate, I ended up doing boxing when I got up into college. And then of course, right, from boxing, I ended up getting into jiu-jitsu, I want to say in 2022.
Okay.
That's when I ended up meeting Coach Ethan. From there I kind of just went ahead and I dug so much into martial arts. And of course, that was one of the passions and one of the reasons that kind of led me to writing this book here. a Young Warriors victory.
Nice. Yeah, that explains a lot. Hearing that you had the karate and the boxing background, because this man, despite how big he is fast with his hands. I can guarantee. I was like sparring him a few times, and like I could tell, like you had done the kickboxing, you like started up recently with it more, right? Or had you been there? So then, like at first you were progressing, and then like all of a sudden it was like a switch flipped and everything just got faster. All of a sudden I was like, God damn, it's like hard to dodge this shit now. I got rocked a few times, but yeah, so what belt did you get to in karate?
So the belt that I got to up in karate was a green belt. And then from there, I went ahead and I kind of shut it down because I was focusing more so on football and basketball. At the time, you're not going to get no scholarship for any combat sports other than wrestling. And unfortunately, St. Mary Parish didn't have wrestling at none of the schools. So I was like, okay, well, this is either going to be football or basketball. And it later ended up becoming football.
Nice. So then you started football in high school?
So I started playing football at 10. I was kind of like a late bloomer. I ended up starting basketball. Like basketball was like my first sport. I love basketball a little bit more than martial arts. I started playing basketball when I was 5.
Nice.
But football, it was 10. And, of course, right throughout the years when I went to West St. Mary High School, then later transferred to Franklin Senior High, I ended up doing both basketball, both football, was getting all district honors in both of them. And so when it came time to my senior year, I got one basketball scholarship to Loyola University in New Orleans. That was like an NAIA. But ultimately, I ended up selecting going to Southern University for football, where I played there from 2015 to 2018. I was a defensive tackle. Got a chance to really play against some guys that were in the league or still in the league. As far as like my teammates go, I had Danny Johnson. He played with the Commanders for a few years. I had Lenore Tillery. He was a running back for the Rams for a few years. I had Jatari Carter. He currently plays for the Panthers. He got selected in the 7th round by the Bears. Then ended up signing a new contract with the Panthers. And yeah, I ended up playing against Nick Chubb my freshman year. This is my fourth game, my fourth game of my young, because I was a true freshman. Like as soon as I got there, I got playing time. I went ahead and I earned it. They love the energy, they love the effort, so they're like, hey, we're not going to redshirt you. You're going to play.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it was great. But the Nick Chubb moment, I got a welcome to the SEC. Not welcome to college football, welcome to the SEC. And I remember as soon as I got in, because I was the second string defensive tackle at the time. So I climbed up the depth chart, and I remember the quarterback was up in the huddle. He ends up calling like ISO 24. Some stuff like that there. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this really means, but I know what ISO is. ISO is they're going to hit the A-gap. Well, guess who's in the A-gap?
You.
I'm in the A-gap, and I just literally seen him like, he was averaging, I want to say like 6.3 yards a carry before I got into the game. So I'm like, okay, this is it's about to get bad here. And I seen him, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna grab these 2 offensive linemen right here. I'm gonna just end up creating a pile. You can run over 1 man. I'll give him that. You're not about to run over 3. If you run over 3 right now, I'm gonna just look at my coach and I'm gonna be like, Coach, look, I did my job. I did my job. He ran into the gap. I made a pile. My linebacker, you need to go ahead, flow, and fill in, and you make the tackle. You got that 1-on-1.
We got a different problem if he can jump over 3 dudes.
Right.
Damn, that's tight, man. So, whenever you were like all into football, I'm sure y'all had to do like a shitload of working out then. What was like your lifts looking like?
Oh yeah, so really like our lifts, and they did change because I did have two different strength and conditioning coaches. My first one was Josh Lawson, and he came from from Alabama. He came from LSU, so we had like that SEC type caliber of training splits. So it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we're hitting full body. Like we're hitting full body. And the biggest thing and the biggest splits was, it was, hey, we're going to start off with Olympic lifts, so snatches, cleans, jerks, something like that there. And we will do our plyometrics, but we're doing our plyometrics separately. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, yeah, we're sitting up here and we're doing cardio, we're doing conditioning. We're sitting up here, right? We're running 110s. We ran bleachers. It was something where I'm like, okay, this is something I could get behind. Now my second coach, Alton Webb, he had ended up coming from Louisiana Tech and Alabama as well. So with his one at first, yeah, it was like kind of like the same split there, but like on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, which was our cardio days, we're focusing more so like on lateral movement, change of direction, making sure like we can shift out from different angles, because up in football, right, like when you open up your hips, you got to open up your hips to like a certain angle to get to a drop, say if you're in defense, to a certain coverage. So yeah, like you have to be able to sit up and you have to be able to do that there.
It's like the same explosive hip movements as jiu-jitsu. I'm sure you were able to like bring that right over into jiu-jitsu and use that, right?
Yes, more so in the tackling aspect. So like if you look at football, you're taught to tackle by the thigh boards, right? So if you are having the ball, say like on your right, if you're right-handed with the ball and I'm tackling you, my right shoulder is going to be hitting your left side, okay? And then from there, I'm essentially doing a double leg takedown in jiu-jitsu, but I'm doing it more so from the side instead of more so going from the front. But yeah, I was able to like actually translate that there. From the few folks that have rolled with me, I have taken down, they're like, wait a minute, you don't do a traditional? And I'm like, no, I don't do a traditional like jiu-jitsu or wrestling based takedown. It's kind of more so like, okay, I'll level change, and when I go to shoot, I'm not necessarily dropping down on the knee. I'm just level changing and I'm dropping down as if though like I'm actually football tackling you. Of course, right, there's a stereotype that defensive tackles aren't good tacklers, like we're there to clog up the gap. But no, not the case with this guy here.
It gets the job done though, right?
Oh yes, it gets the job done. It really does get the job done, because you're not anticipating for your opponent to go like to be that high and still being able to shoot. You're expecting them to drop on the knees, so that way you can go ahead, Ryan. You can sprawl, or like how Coach Clayton likes to do. He likes to pull happy baby cards when somebody goes to try like take him down. But no, like that actually ends up getting, like it does end up getting the job done. It does. At times though, it's kind of hard to really like transition. And that was kind of like the one adjustment I had to make. I'm like, okay, I know I can drop, I could burst, but it's like, okay, I drop, I burst, but I have to now maintain some type of control. In football, like once I got that angle and I come at you with that speed, I'm not slowing down at all. The only time I'm slowing down is if you go into the sidelines, because, man, I'm not going to lie. I was scared as shit from my coach. My head coach Dawson Oldhams. He if you got a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty, you about to sit your ass right here on this bitch. Like he's about to chew you out on live television. And from there, like he's gonna take off his headsets and be like, "Man, why the hell you did that, dumbass?" Yeah. And I'm like, hey. I'm like, oh no, man! Like that scared me so bad, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna sit up here. I'm never gonna do that there. Like, I will sit up here, I will tackle, but as soon as this person starts heading over that sideline, just gotta make sure you get to that sideline, and that be it. So, that was kind of like the only adjustment I've had to make, from that there. But now at this point, like if I was, like shoot a double leg, okay, I get it. Now I'm gonna go ahead, right, start working. The Kesa, at least Kesa first. Then from Kesa, then go up in the side control, and just start working from there.
Have you done any tournaments yet for jiu-jitsu?
So I have. I've done the first tournament I did was the Monster Mash that Coach Eric always has up in Youngsville. Like that was my very first one. I did that one. Yeah, I did that one in 2024. Won my first match, lost the second one by points. Then I did like kind of like our first like in-house tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the trial run. I did that one there. Did New Breed last April, and then the last one that I did was AGF in Baton Rouge. I think that one was up in June, or I want to say that one was up in June, I believe.
So you did an AGF, man. I bet that shit was intense.
No, they all were intense.
All of them.
Oh yes, they all were intense, all equally. Like the opponents that I had, I couldn't sit up here and I couldn't like do the same thing. Like I had to sit up here and I had to be versatile. A lot of folk give me crap because I'm a heavyweight and I like to go for leg locks a lot. But I'm sitting up here and I'm like, well, no, like, yeah, granted, I know I can smash. Like, I know I can sit up there ground pound and smash, like, of course. But, if I start doing little guy jiu-jitsu as a heavyweight, you're not going to sit up here. You're not going to expect it.
Right, yeah.
I think Coach Ryan Aber, that's the one that gives me, like the most for it. He's like, Chris, if you're going to go ahead and start shooting for these straight ankles, either you're going to have to stop or you're going to have to keep on doing it. And, like, every time, like, we would go up in the morning, me and him are always in these leg lock battles. And he will always give me on it. Like, if I try to go for a straight ankle, he's going to sit up here, he's going to boot out. I go for the heel hook. He ends up, like, catching my other heel and ends up reversing it in some way. And I'm just shell-shocked. I'm literally like, wait, what the hell?
It happens like that, right?
Yeah, like it just sits a bit. It just happens like that.
Man.
And I'm like, okay, you see, this is why there are levels. There are extreme levels to this here.
It's like a humble reminder.
Oh yeah, like a true humble reminder. But of course, I ended up doing that there because I think it was like a 2 or 3 month period in time where this was at the old gym. Before we went and moved into the new one. And at times I was the only guy there, and it would be Heath, and Heath would be like, well, Chris, like, I mean, I'm not going to sit up and just roll with you. No, like, we're going to end up going to Gladiators. So we would be going to Gladiators, and of course, right, like, he still ends up, like, teaching me on leg locks, like that, because of course, right, like, that's his bread and butter, is leg locks. So from there, I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to adapt this here, because, again, like, as a heavyweight, you're not going to sit up here, you're not going to expect another heavyweight to start pulling out leg locks, upon you. You're going to be expecting, just a ground pound and smash instead of, the little guy stuff.
Yeah. Man, I can't even imagine, like, the force between two heavyweights doing that, because whenever I had done the Monster Mash this past year, and I mean, the guy that I was up against was like 200 pounds, right? Each one of them. And I mean, it just feels like you're grabbing onto a freaking tree trunk that's still on the ground and trying to move it. So, I mean, how much do you weigh right now?
So, right now I weigh 240.
Okay, so 240.
The last time when I competed in a grappling match at AGF, I cut down to 215.
Damn.
Yeah, I cut down to 215. I didn't want to. I was like, okay, I've been doing heavyweight. Let me try like light heavyweight. Let me see if this is gonna be, a little bit of a difference here. And it was. I mean, I could compete at either or, because football, and again, I was really, truthfully, I'm saying defensive tackle. I'll get in like in the specifics of it. So I was really like the one tech mainly. So the one tech is between the center and the guard, and that's at least 600 pounds coming at you.
Like a train.
Yes. They're sitting up in there coming at you. I would get in the game anywhere in the neighborhood between like 15 to 25 plays a game. And so I'm getting that. I'm getting that constantly, especially on first and second down with teams wanting to run the ball, and even at times on passing downs, right? Like if we're just sitting up here and we're just rushing four, then no, I'm still gonna sit up here. I'm still gonna get double teamed at some point unless we're running like a special type of stunt or play where, hey, like the defensive end comes inside, I wrap around, I go outside, something like that there. But nah, man, like I'm getting hit with 600 pounds. I'm getting hit with 600 pounds. I gotta sit up there, go up against 600 goddamn pounds almost every play. So it's like I'm kind of used to getting like smashed.
Right, yeah.
It's just the idea of the duration of it. Like in football, the average play lasts like 4 seconds. So if I'm getting smashed, it's probably going to be for like a second to a second and a half, because ideally if they're running the ball towards me, my linebacker needs to start filling in, because that B gap's going to be wide open. So go ahead, fill in, get this guard up off of me so either one of us can sit up here and make the play. But yeah, with jiu-jitsu, it's like, okay, if you're in that position where you're on the bottom, whether that's side control, queso, mount, and you just got somebody just laying there upon you, that is a totally different thing, because it gets draining, it gets drainful, and you gotta sit up here and adapt the Coach Jules philosophy of don't be stuck on the bottom, because if you don't, and essentially when you do get up, you're gonna be tired, because it's like, well, damn, man, like you're getting smashed and you have to work all that energy to get from being unsmashed, and I was like, here we all go again.
I know, right? Like that's the worst feeling. You're getting smashed on the bottom, and you like flip them over, and you use all that energy, and then like if they can flip you back on the bottom, and it's like, oh no, what do I do now? Yeah, that was a lot of whenever I first started. I was just, since then I've learned to really quiet my mind when I'm on the bottom, and just like, that just being able to not freak out and keep your heart rate down while you're there, and know that you're pretty safe. I mean, for at least a few seconds while you think about what you're gonna do. Man, it helps not drain your cardio for sure. I'm sure man. Yeah, because if you get smashed and you're out of breath. Oh my God!
No, I actually do incorporate a little bit of that, like up into my training, like specifically with the teens or with some of the athletes that I find that will struggle, with their breathing. So kind of like, and I'm on a show, you've heard around in the gym, they'd be like, "Damn, Chris trying to kill me."
Always, like every other time I go in there, it's like either CJ or freaking somebody else.
I'm like, look, CJ be the main one. Even at times, like Coach Me would sit up and look at me like, "Chris, it's my last one, right? Like I need to get there." I'm like, I understand, man, but we got to put this work in. But no, like. I would go, and what we would do is kind of like after we're done with the cardio, I'll give you like a minute to 2 minutes to kind of, calm down and things like that there, especially like on the mental part. So then what we do is we kind of go ahead and lie down. And I actually took this from Coach Walt, because I seen him do this in preparation for some of the fighters for the first RFC. And I kind of did that, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to tweak it up a little bit. And it wasn't even a big tweak. It was, we're going to get a kettlebell, and we're going to sit it on the diaphragm. Like, we're not going to sit it on the chest. We're going to sit it on the diaphragm. And the reason being is because, right, the diaphragm is the muscle that contracts the lungs to go ahead and breathe. Well, if your diaphragm is constantly sitting up here getting pressure, well, guess what? The lungs ain't going to contract. Oxygen not going to get to the brain. And then that's when panic goes and it starts sitting in. And so what I do is we get the kettlebell, you press it into you, Like you press it into you onto your diaphragm, and from there you just start breathing. Like I really more so tell them just to start breathing in through their nose, because the thing of it is though, you can get muffled, right? And a lot of times, right, like when people get muffled, normally it's the mouth that gets covered first, and then of course, right, they try to creep their hand and work onto the nose. Now, if I can't speak for everybody, but if you cover my mouth, I'm already trying to sit up here and, I'm trying to back my head up, or I'm trying to pry your hand up off of my mouth. But if I can't get to you and I'm seeing like, okay, well, you're there, I'm like, okay, no, just calm down. Just start breathing through the nose, okay? Because now at that point now at this point, okay, I need to calm down. Like I need to calm down. I need to assess the situation right now where I'm at, so that way, okay, I can sit up here, I can figure out like how to get up out of this here. But yeah, like, because it doesn't really matter how much like training you do, whether it be from the strength and conditioning side, whether it be from the combat side. If you do both, like how you're supposed to do, if you don't know how to properly breathe, I don't care how good your gas tank may be, it's going to be inefficient. That's like you driving a Ford Fusion and you don't change the oil. You feel what I'm saying? Like, or driving any type of vehicle that's got like good that has like good like mileage, right? Like if you don't change the oil, shit, you're not gonna sit up here, you're not gonna get the full value out your miles per gallon. So that's really like more so why I kind of go ahead and like why I say, hey, we're gonna end up doing that though, right? Like I incorporate that there.
Do you find that like putting that kettlebell on the diaphragm, does it actually strengthen the diaphragm over time?
It does. It does go ahead and it does strengthen it over time. But really, it's more so for the mind. Right, like this is more so for the mental, right? Like as a strength and conditioning coach, and even though I haven't heard this from none of mine's, from high school to college, as the head strength and conditioning coach for Acadiana Jiu Jitsu, I tell this to everybody. Like my job is to get the mind, body, and soul strengthened and conditioned to do what it is that you need to do, right? I tell that to anybody that I sit up here that I work with, that I train. It's going to be grueling, like it is, and it's actually supposed to be, right? Like, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, like the Bulls teams, the championship teams, like they said, like the practices were harder than the games, and then go ahead and make the games easier. Shit, it was proof in the pudding. I mean, they went 7-2-10, and finished the job, you feel what I'm saying, by having that kind of philosophy and mindset. So yeah, definitely, we have to be able to sit up and have those three aspects like all together, and that's kind of like where I start off with with that there, right? Because for a fighter or for any athlete, right, if we're to sit up here and to do a pie chart, your strength and conditioning is either 25 to 40% of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, right? So that's at least a quarter. That's at least a quarter, and that's a huge chunk. Like if you don't sit up here, if you don't do that, or if you don't have the right person, doing those things there, or doing it in a way in which like, okay, this can effectively like translate to what it is that you're doing. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that you're not gonna struggle. Because I mean, there are people out there that, hey, all they do is just do their sport, and that's it. But if you go up against someone that is the same skill level as you, has the same IQ as you, you're about to sit up and you're about to have a tough time.
Yeah, the cardio and the strength is definitely going to make the difference in that situation.
Right, and of course, like all those things go ahead, but it just sharpens it. That's all that it does. Like you have a tool, right? Like I have a katana, but if I go ahead, but let's say it's dull, that katana is not going to be as effective. So I wouldn't be able to sit up here and chop wood or defend myself, as effective. What I have to do is I have to go ahead and I have to sharpen it with some tools to fully bring it out. And that's what strength and conditioning, does for you. Whether you're doing, combat sports, whether you're doing football, basketball, it does not matter. Like strength and conditioning is really one of those things that you can't sit up here and you can't ignore. Now, I'm not sitting up here and I'm not saying once again, everyone's gonna go ahead and everyone is different, right? Like you gotta know what it is that your sport, demands. As a strength and conditioning coach, I can tell you now, for the most part, all athletes, you're gonna need mobility. You're gonna need flexibility. You are going to need to know exactly how to maneuver your body in the ranges of motion and the demand that it requires. Because hey, you're practicing, you're training, and then you, of course, right, you got your competition, and you want to be able to make sure that you are at the highest peak that you can get. Like, granted, and I'm on a show like, Coach Me may have mentioned this on one of his podcasts here. CJ can tell you how I can even tell you from playing football, right? Like, you're not going in the game 100%. You're not going in your competition 100%. But let's just say you're going up in there, okay, at 80%. How can I fully maximize this 80%? And again, hey, like the strength and conditioning, that is what's going to sit up here, and that's what's going to, honest to God truth, like help you with it.
Yeah, like brings your base level up to where even if you're not up to your normal speed, and then your base is much higher, so then you're like relying on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I tell that to everyone. I don't know if you've seen up in the up in the summer, Mr. Jacob. I don't know if you did, but I ended up starting training like two UL athletes. So the first one, granted, he did transfer to McNeese, unfortunately. But wishing him nothing but the best. It was Hutch Swiley. He was a running back, and then I ended up training a high jumper named Alicia Veal. And so, of course, they're in the martial arts gym. They're seeing all this here, and they're like, well, and of course, they're looking at it. They're looking at what I'm putting them through, and they're seeing what I'm putting the fires through. And they're like, wait a minute, well, how in the world you can sit up here and put us through, the same thing here? And I'm like, well, here's the thing. You need the same thing, but of course you're going to be utilizing it, for different reasons. So like for instance, a hip flexor exercise. Every athlete needs their hips. You're going to need to have some strong mobile hips, because that's where, the lower body, like that's the engine. That's not the generator now, but that's the engine. Okay, the generator lies up in the feet. But no, so of course, right, like I will go ahead and I would say, hey, for Hutch, like your hips, you're going to need them to be able to, rotate. Okay, whether it is when you're going out for a route and you're going to have to make that cut and make that plant. For Alicia, right, like she's got to sit up here, she got to use her hips, because whenever she goes on that curve to jump, right, she has to bring that near hip close to the post. She has to be able to bring that up in order to clear it. And of course, right, we already know for, combat sports, fires and things like that there, hey, we need our hips to be able to explode and shoot to get takedowns. We need them to go ahead and throw a knee or throw a certain kick or even to throw a punch, right? Because, of course, if you punch, the punch and that rotation has to end up also coming from the hips. So, like, of course, like over the course of time, right, I've kind of like been able to really like study the human anatomy and starting to see like, okay, this here and what I put people through, this is just like every athlete can sit up here and benefit from it, regardless of whatever sport or whatever activity you want to do. Now, granted, everybody's got different goals. Like I do train people that they just want the aesthetics, just want the looks, and they just
I don't care about cardio at all, dog. I just want to be ripped, you know.
Right.
I want to be swole.
I still make them do cardio. Don't get it twisted. I still make them do cardio, but hey, like for like the athletes though, like hey, like this is generalized. This is generalized. Like this can sit up here and this can help out any, like what I do helps out any athlete, regardless of level, regardless of sport, to go ahead and to maximize. And you're gonna go ahead and you're going, to see results. I don't know if you saw, but when you saw Coach Meade, right, and you saw like the progression, right, from September, from October, from November, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And then like I remember, when it was actually like fight time, a lot of people were saying like that was the best they ever seen him look.
Oh yeah,
like that was the best that they ever seen him look, and I ain't gonna lie, I was, I kind of teared up a little bit. I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like yeah,
props to the coach.
I'm like, you know what? I'm glad but I was happy though. Like I could be like a part of that there. Like I kind of do wish like I was a part of like the whole journey, like for him. But for me, for that to be said, and for me to see it, and for me to actually like be a driving force and engine of that there, I was like, oh yeah. And of course
I can confirm that as well. I mean, because I would see him like, what was it, every other day or like maybe twice a week, so there was like a good chunk of time in between, and so there was a lot of room for progression, and I noticed it immediately whenever he started doing it. I was like, man, this dude got like pecs and shoulder definition now. I was like, it's coming on quick. It was good. Yep.
Yes, sir.
And also, like, you talking about all the hip exercises and like building all the strength there. The stretching aspect of that as well is because Sam had my son had broke his arm like a couple months ago, and that healed up just fine. But during that time, I didn't have to like go early for his class anymore, and I usually do yoga during his class. And so then just having not done yoga like I normally would for like a month or two, I was immediately able to tell that I was much less flexible, and that translated to everything. I was like, man, this is like equally as important as the strength, because you can't fully use the strength if you're like mobility is compromised because you're not stretching properly. It's crazy.
Oh yes indeed. So it's kind of, I kind of tell people this analogy here. You have the pig and you have the wild hog, right? Now, granted, I know some people at first glance are going to be like, "Well, wait, what's the difference? I thought it was one and the same." And no, they're not one and the same, right? Like a pig, I don't expect a pig to run fast,
right? Yeah.
Granted, like don't get me wrong, the pig is strong up in its own right, but I'm not expecting the pig to be fast. Whereas the wild hog, no, the wild hog is just as strong, but the wild hog is a lot faster, and that kind of what ends up going ahead and what ends up happening. If you just go ahead and you just lift, then yeah, you're big, you're bulky, but you're not going to be able to move. I think an analogy I can give to some people, for my anime fans out there, right? Dragon Ball Z Cell Saga, when Future Trunks bulked up, like, yeah, you got the power to go up against Perfect Cell, but you don't have the speed nor the mobility to sit up here and to do that there. Like you just don't. Now, when you perfect it to Super Saiyan 2, like how Team Gohan done, now you got the power, now you have the speed, now you have the mobility to do so. And so that's kind of like whenever I'm doing my programs, I'm actually incorporating mobility up in. And, you can ask people, this is how it goes, right? Cardio, everybody hates it. Everybody hates it. I don't have one person that will sit up and be like, yeah, I want to do cardio today. No, indeed not. Lifting, it gets mixed reviews. Like, some people actually do love the lifts, and then some people will be like, Chris, are you trying to kill me? No. I mean, listen, you have to do a Zercher squat to help out with your takedowns. So, you got to sit up here, right? put the bar in between the pit of your arms, and let's go ahead. Let's start, squatting, right? But when it comes to mobility, everyone loves it. Everyone
Really?
sits up here. Everyone loves it. Even when I started like the kids mobility class, the kids went ahead and they started loving it. And the reason being is because you're now able to like maneuver around your body. You're able to recruit those deeper muscles, those tendons, those things that you didn't think that you had before. You're able to recruit that, and now since you're able to recruit it, you're now able to go ahead and you're able to generate more. And so with that there, and it also is relaxing. I'm not gonna sit up and lie. Like, it is relaxing with some of those movements. Now, granted, some of them can be on the painful side. A few of them can be, but then like afterwards, it's like it's just a release. It's just a release, and it feels so good. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I had we didn't do mobility training too much when I was playing college ball. Outside of I had a coach, an assistant strength coach. His name was Coach James McCarthy, and of course he went to sports kinesiology at Tulane. So he ends up coming, and he was under both of the head and strength and conditioning coaches that I mentioned earlier. But no, on Wednesdays and Fridays, because football players, collegiate football players, or all collegiate athletes, right? You're gonna have to sit down with your coach. They're going to evaluate you at the end of the season. At the end of the semester. So for football, that would be at December and May, right? Before we go on our 1 month break, and then we gotta report back in. And those strength and conditioning coaches know they're gonna get a report. They're gonna get a copy of your report of your eval. So if he would see like, oh, you got stiff ankles, you have stiff hips, you have stiff shoulders, you don't know how to properly rotate, right? He's gonna sit up here and be like, hey, this Wednesday and this Friday, you go ahead, right? You come and you see me. And so from there, I didn't do it my freshman year, like my true freshman campaign. I did it though during the off season, and I immediately ended up seeing the difference. I was like, man, I'm moving lighter, I'm more agile, up on my feet. And then of course, as time went on to progress, I ended up finding yoga. It's not as good as say like Miss Kim's yoga, Yardbird yoga. Like, it's not as impactful as that there. It really more so focuses on isometric movements and holding it, and we're actually focusing and emphasizing more on the breathing aspect of it and the diaphragm, actually teaching the diaphragm, hey, this is how you're supposed to contract on these ranges of motion and things of that nature there. But no, like I ended up, and I had no choice but to do mobility training. I did, because I ended up tearing my plantar plate up in my left foot.
Really?
Yes, and this is kind of how I started, doing, the mobility aspect of it, because I'm like, nah, man, like that's an injury that they say that if you get that twice, then that's it. Like, you can't run, you can't jump, sprint.
How'd that happen?
So what ended up happening was I was fighting a block, right? So I was going ahead, I was fighting a back block, and 3 of my teammates had fell. Now, all of them were linemen. So we're talking about 3 guys that are well over 300 pounds. So you got 1,000 pounds falling on a muscle, and it's extremely thin. It's extremely thin. So kind of like the balls of your feet, there's a muscle lining that runs right under the big toe.
Yeah.
Bone. And well, that muscle gave out. That muscle gave out. And then my big toe bone ended up shattering a little bit, and
shattering a little bit.
Yeah, like,
just a little bit.
Yeah, man, I had to see a specialist. I literally had to see a specialist up in North Carolina.
Oh man!
And don't get me wrong, thank God he because he also did the those type of surgeries for the Carolina Panthers and for the Charlotte Hornets too. So I'm like, okay, I'm in some very great hands here. But I'm like, this was not something I wanted to do, and it took so long for it to get back. I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Jacob. That was the worst thing I ever had done to me as an athlete.
Yeah, I'm sure, because now you can't walk, you can't train.
Oh no, man! I was bedridden for almost a whole year. Yeah, man, I was bedridden for a whole year.
It's like you got to watch all that work you did atrophy while you're like forced to rest.
Right, and then I had to change up my diet. I had to go like vegetarian for a while because, of course, right, like I'm trying to watch my weight here. I know I'm gonna gain weight. I know I could shed 15 pounds up in a month. I know I can. I'm not about to sit up here and try to shed like 30 or 35 pounds. Up in the month. I'm just sorry. Now back then, right? Back then, like as a collegiate football player, and we didn't have a sauna. We didn't. So it's not like, oh, I can go up in the sauna like kind of like how we can, right? To cut weight. Okay, go up in the sauna, 10 to 20 minutes, 3 times out the week, right? Like, yeah, you're gonna lose weight because you're sweating out the calories. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have access to that, and it wasn't like there was a gym anywhere near that I could go to with school, having to still be at meetings, other extracurricular activities, things like that there.
Yeah.
So man, that was like really one of the worst things. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was able to play the following year in 2018, but I wasn't the same, man. At times my coaches literally said, "Chris, you look like a 3-legged dog."
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And of course, like some of the things you see me now, doing with the athletes at the gym, I wasn't doing any of that. But then again, like the rehab I had, there was none of that there. None of the strength and conditioning coaches put me through that athletic training stash. And don't get me wrong here, I didn't even sit up here and took the time to invest up in myself and look it up. But of course, as time progressed and moved on, and I'm like, okay, I want to get back up in the martial arts, but I know I have this foot injury here, and of course, right, you know the styles of what we get taught, right, from grappling, from striking. Yeah, we really gotta be on the balls of our feet here and really push off on that back foot.
Especially with that last workout we did with CJ on Thursday. Did you see that where we were like hopping across the whole mat and back?
Oh yeah.
I did. God.
My apologies. Don't get me wrong here, man. Like I utilize social media in that aspect there. Facebook and Instagram. That's like my 2 main ones. And I'm sitting up here and I'm just seeing it. I'm seeing strength and conditioning, just like generalized strength and conditioning, and I break it down to like, hey, this is like upper body, this is mobility for the knee, this is mobility for hamstrings, this is for groin, this is for hips, this is for back, this is for shoulders, and I'm just sitting up here and I'm just breaking that down. And at times, I do be sending the coaches like some other things, like other drills and other combos.
Oh, you had sent that to him?
I mean, don't get me wrong, like I send it to them. Now, whether they choose to exactly do that or make some tweaks or adjustment on their own, then yeah, that's up to them. Like, don't get me wrong, like CJ, he ends up doing it now. Like there's an exercise called like a sprinter hip flexor raise, right, where you're going ahead and you're raising up your hip flexor while keeping one leg stabilized, and you get that running motion like that there. He ends up going and looking like, Chris, wait a minute, I could check kicks like this. And so he'll get in his Muay Thai stance and he'll raise up that hip flexor to go and check. And I'm just sitting up here and I'm like, bro, why did you have to make this kind of tweak and adjustment? I didn't want you sitting up here making this tweak and adjustment here. But in the back of my head, I'm like, no, this is actually a smart thing because, okay, now that's teaching the hip flexor, hey, I got to raise up, I got to make this elbow to knee connection and really sit up here and check this kick. And then we took it a step further. He like, come on, Chris, kick me. I'm like, wait, what? He like, yeah, man,
let's test it out.
He like, kick me. I'm like, I'm like, okay. All right, because he got a fight coming up, so I'm like, okay, all right. I go to kick. My shin literally feels it. in the back of my head, I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, you know, he's a brown and black belt. You know, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, karate. You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, Chris, you ain't nowhere near none of that stuff at all. Even with your karate, because you know, karate, like all the kicks that I was taught are mainly dealing with the foot and the heel doing the damage.
Right.
Not
yeah.
you
the
know,
shin bone.
Yeah, not necessarily the shin. Well, yeah, his shins are
right. Like I would love if you watch this. I mean, you probably will, CJ. In the future, if you ever have to get like X-rays for whatever reason, I would love if you just a chance X-ray your shin, and then we can compare it to like what normal people's shins look like. I bet you it's probably like thicker or something, just from the conditioning that they have to do like that.
Oh yes, and Mr. Jacob, now don't get me wrong, I've done something like that similarly, but I haven't done it with the shins. But I'm very well intrigued to do it because, of course, I'm going to be traveling, with CJ in preparation for because he is going to be on GSF on March 7th, and he's going to be doing RFC on March 28th.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be tight.
And so I'm going to be traveling with him to Black American Top Team up in Mississippi.
Nice.
And
have you been there before?
I have not, and I am intrigued. I am eager, but I'm also a little bit scared because these are the same guys here that have coached Khabib and Islam.
Right, it's just a bunch of like hard ass Russians up in there.
And I'm sitting up here, and like they've seen my work because they, were seeing the improvement like week over week with CJ, and they're like, okay, well, who do you strength and conditioning? And CJ showed them a drill. Oh, he know what he doing. I love him. He can make us suffer. I'm like, and then when CJ told me this, I'm like, man. And he's like, yeah, Chris, like you coming with me. And like I said, I'm intrigued, but I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm in Dagestan. Like, that's gonna be my whole time. Like, okay, I'm in Dagestan right now. like, yeah.
2-3 years Dagestan. Forget.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it do. You know what? I'm here, and y'all call me a wolf. Y'all got big wolves there. I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna end up enjoying it. I'll be like, yep, I'm just gonna sit up here. I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna teach. I'm gonna learn some more.
So you're gonna train them too with your regiment?
Yeah. Specifically though, like with the mobility, because that's all like CJ was like showing them, and that's all like they really and truthfully had wanted. And granted, like I say, like when it comes with the lifting, it comes with the cardio. Like that's all gonna sit up here, right? And that's all gonna vary because it's all pertaining to the actual athlete. Like for instance, like your shoulders could be more flexible than mine's, right? My hamstrings could be more flexible than yours. So of course, right, we have some things that we have to work on, but there's some things that we're already strong at. And so for me, when I have an athlete or when I have a client and I'm looking at everything here, I'm like, okay, this is where we really need to target it. Now, it's not to say that we're not going to improve on the things that are already good, right? Because you can never do too much, right, on something that is good. Like, yeah, your hips are mobile, they are flexible. That is true, but we still gotta sit up here. We still gotta continue, to work upon it. Because of course, you don't work on it over time. Well, they start collecting dust. Next thing you know, dust ends up converting into cotton webs, spider webs, and then when you try to go back at it again and you try to do something, that's when
it ain't as easy.
Yeah, that's when those little tweaks and those little injuries start to sit up and start to pile up.
Yeah, I meant to say because you were talking about the strength part of it in the combat sports area, and people think like it's you train strength to hit harder, but I mean I'm sure a good bit of it is injury prevention as well.
Oh no, yes, more so it is the injury prevention like aspect of it. Like granted, yes, you are going to hit harder. You're going to be able to generate a lot more force and a lot more power. from that there. Now, granted, what I've tried to, or at least when I incorporated when I was younger, my karate instructors, because I was very big for my age. Like, I wasn't your typical 4 or 5-year-old. Like, I was going up against the teens.
Damn.
Because that's how big no, like, that's how big I was. Like, I would say the size of Braden. Like, I was Braden's size when I was 8.
Oh man!
Like, but like before,
brutal.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Braden, before he was training with me and everything, like, I was his size at 8 years old. That's just to kind of give you like a bit of a picture here. So of course, right, like, I'm that big, and my martial arts instructor, he was like, well, no, like, we're gonna put you with people that are your size. We're not gonna put you with kids your age. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool, because I mean, hey. Anything can sit up here, anything can happen. Like, I could get bullied, by someone who is, bigger than me. So, hey, I got to sit up here and I got to do what, I got to do. But he ended up making me do Iron Fist training.
Oh, really? What's that?
So, Iron Fist training is essentially shin conditioning before your fist. And so, he kept it very simple and very basic. It does originate though from like Shaolin Kung Fu, so I'm more sure like Shaolin monks, they do that and they do practice that as well. You do 3 type of calisthenics. So you do wrist push-ups, you do fingertip push-ups, and you do knuckle push-ups. All right. Now, of course, from there you are going to be hitting 3 different things here. So the first progression, you're going to hit sand. So go ahead, put a bucket of sand, put sand up in the bucket. And then you'll end up doing straight punches with. So all of this can be with straight punches. All of this can be from palm strikes, fingertip spear hands, chops, whatever kind of strike you want to use and utilize. Then from there, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna hit a wooden board with rope wrapped around it. And then the last progression, which I'm only sure a few folks at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu have seen me do, you're going to actually hit center block.
Damn.
And yeah, and that's where the progression actually ends up ending at. So typically though, what I do is like I'll do like fingertip push-ups one day, then I'll end up doing knuckle push-ups the other. I kind of stray away from the wrist, and what I'll end up doing is I'll just end up like incorporating like knuckle and fingertip. Because of football, like this left wrist, I can't necessarily like put so much pressure like on it from this aspect. And then from there, I'll hit sand, I'll hit the wooden board, and then I'm hitting the cinder block.
Man, but the grappling, the grip strength of that is probably insane how that builds up.
Oh, yes, indeed. And it does help out with the grip strength, too. Like, you can also, and if you don't have sand, like, some people do rice. I just don't do rice because I was taught and raised on the principle you don't waste food.
Yeah.
So I'm not about to sit up here and waste no rice like that. No. Plus, sand is a lot harder than rice. But yeah, also for for grapplers. Now I'm not saying you gotta go to the extreme of hitting like the cinder block and the wooden board, but no, like if you go ahead and you do the finger like the calisthenics and you end up doing it with the sand, like at times your grip strength is going to end up improving as well as that aspects because you're strengthening up the fingers, you're strengthening up the hand, the wrist, the forearm, and the elbow. So with all that strengthening up, and of course. And granted, you said earlier, like I do hit hard. I normally go at like 40%. Like that's kind of like the max, unless it's someone that I'm preparing for a fight. Well, okay, I'm gonna bump this up a little bit to like 50 to 60, maybe. Bearing, giving what coaches instructions and things like that there. But it feels a lot harder like that there. But like I said, it's because of Iron Fist training.
And the speed, because it's like you're fast with it, but there's like a lot of mass there too, so the momentum is just like fuck.
Oh yeah.
Let's take a little break real quick. So we were talking about the Iron Fist training, and have you done any kickboxing tournaments or anything like that, or smokers yet?
No, I haven't, and I wanted to do the one that we had in house. I know Coach Heath, unfortunately, he had to, he had to go ahead. He had to like scrap it.
Yeah,
so I know I do want to end up doing one. Sometime up in the spring or something like that. There. Like normally, like I'm getting up in it because like as a strength and conditioning coach, right? Like I want to be able to help the athletes, like at the gym or anyone else that may come around. Like say from head kicks, gladiators, flash MMA, or just whoever, right? Like hey, like I'm gonna put you, through your strength and conditioning, right? But then of course it's like hey, if you want to sit up here, you want to get rounds in, you want to get pad work, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to do that, as well. I kind of learned that especially from the coach's name is Coach Taylor Ramsdale, and he was Albert Joe Band's strength and conditioning coach. And I'm not gonna lie, like he's been like a good mentor, very knowledgeable, and I kind of like seen that, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like this is really cool. And granted, like Mr. Allen ended up teaching him like how to hold pads, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like ironic because like CJ is sitting up here and teaching me like how to actually like kickbox, and of course, right, like I'll get my tips from some of the other fighters that come on a Sunday. I'll get tips from Coach Wall as well, Coach Heath. So it's just one of those things, man, where I was like, okay, that's really more so one of the reasons why I get up into it. And then the other one, right, is of course, and this is just why I got into martial arts as a whole. I got into martial arts to be able to protect those that I love and I cherish, right? Because the world getting crazier every second. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I learned. And again, I learned a lot from the 2003 TMNT show. Like I learned a whole lot. Like granted, it is a cartoon. Don't get me wrong here. But of all the TMNT adaptations, right? Now, granted, I'll give 2012 their props. I will too. No, but they really have like real life like themes that can go ahead and can kind of relate and translate to life. And that's why I also ended up putting in that book, right? Like the main character looks at, like actually watches and looks at those two adaptations. It's not to disregard like 1987 or Rise or Tales of the TMNT, right? That's the newest adaptation. It's not to discredit none of them three there, but 2003 and 2012 they legit do have themes that kind of translate to real life. So one of them, right, is Leonardo. Like Leonardo in 2003, he really does says like you got to be ready for anything, right? And of course you have to adapt and overcome. And those are real life principles that we have to learn in the world. Of course we learn that through martial arts. Like you got to adapt. Like okay, if somebody sits up here and takes you back, okay, cool, you go ahead, right, you defend. Oh, he done sit up here and he done transition in the mount. Right, so you gotta be ready. You weren't ready for it, but now, hey, now you gotta adapt, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of now back defense, now I gotta end up going to mount defense. So that's really more so like why I just now so heavily get up into it. Like I'm not gonna be looking to compete on anything else like that. There, like you're not gonna find me on, somebody's card like. At all, like at no time soon here, and that's only because right, like I've had 4 concussions.
Oh really?
Yes, I've had 4 concussions between between football and between professional work, ironically, and so I'm kind of like what, man, like I got like at some point like I gotta stop it, right? Now granted, when we train, it's not to say like that can't happen. Of course that's controlled.
Yeah.
But in a fight, and especially, if you're fighting for money, UFC contracts and all that there. Now it's like, yeah, no, that 40-50%, yeah, you can kiss that out the door right now. Oh, no, it's about to be full-blown 100%, which,
oh, man.
I mean, no, I don't blame you because, Mr. Jake, I've been in those rule meetings, right, in these professional fight promotions. those refs literally ask you, and they literally tell you, "Are you sure you want to go through with this? Because you can legally die."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, it ain't out of the realm of possibility. And also because like the thing of it is with all combat and with war in itself, it just takes one time, right? One strike with the right precision at the right velocity at the right point on the human anatomy and body will sit up here, will win a fight. Point blank period. And granted, like it has to be very super lucky. We're talking about like Russian roulette. It's like, oh, you want red 30. Okay, cool. And you putting all your money on red 30. The ball better hit on red 30. But guess what? If it do hit on red 30, then you won. And you won big, right? And so, of course, say if you was throwing, I don't know, like let's just sit up here and say your opponent throws a jab, you slip it, and then you end up throwing a 5, right, to the liver. A liver shot, you're going to go down. A good liver shot, you're going to go down, and that's all it wrote. That's all your body wrote, because there's so many nerve endings attached to the liver that you're going to go down. Ref going to call the fight.
As somebody who has never taken a liver shot, I didn't know what that felt like, and then I ended up getting like a spinning back kick, and it wasn't even crazy. It was like a moderate, in sparring, and I finally got to feel what a damn liver shot feels like, and it is fucking brutal. I mean, I can't even imagine getting smoked like full on, but I mean, you just like... you double over, you like making involuntary noise, can't hardly breathe.
Oh yeah, and see, like that's one of the things that I do love, specifically though, like with Coach Walt, right? Like Coach Walt, he studies the human anatomy. Now, granted, I do too, right? As a strength and conditioning coach is supposed to, right? Like personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, please study the human anatomy and how it works and how it functions. Please do. But no, like Coach Walt will sit up here, and when he's explaining like the combinations, he's going to explain exactly what it is we're targeting and how it will sit up here, how it will affect it. Like he sit up here and was telling me how a calf kick ends up and why it hurts so much, because there's a big nerve ending that actually runs through there. And I'm sitting up here, and as he's breaking this down, I'm like, man, am I in biology all over again?
Pretty much, yeah, because it's like studying...
No, not high school biology, college biology. I'm like, why in the hell I didn't learn this up? And then I'm like, okay, well, Chris, your education, you were in Louisiana. I'm sorry to say, but we're either fighting for the bottom with Mississippi, it seems like every year. So, I mean... And I definitely did not get taught about the human anatomy at all in biology. And because I got my credentials in human resources at Southern, hey, I really didn't get a chance to really know. I did my best to like hang out in the athletic training room, to actually go ahead, right, to actually like learn that. And I actually did. I had a special friend, right? Like I had a special friend. She was athletic training, And she would always sit up here, always help me, because I'm asking for massages. She's sitting up here and was saying some unfriendly things, like, "Listen, I'm not your goddamn servant here. No, I'm going to teach you how to sit up here and repair your own goddamn body, because you're not supposed to be getting a goddamn massage every other motherfucking day." I'm like, okay, Tay, okay, Tay, all right, you got that. No, man, like she was. Very critiquative with that there. So, but yeah, man, like that's why I say like having like that understanding of the human anatomy and how it like works will legit sit up and help you out, whether you're a strength and conditioning coach, a martial arts coach, martial arts fighter, or just whatever. Like understanding like how the human body works, like from a movement perspective. Oh no, man, that'll sit up and help you out tremendously as a whole, because now it's like, okay, you have a set game plan, right, on how on how you need to like properly, like function.
I remember whenever I first started, and I hadn't really even taken very many leg kicks or anything. I was sparring, and somebody just, as they were turning, accidentally hit me in the thigh with their knee. So that wasn't the intended target, but that's how it collided. And I remember thinking, like, damn, that like hurt a lot. And then I went down the rabbit hole of like leg kicks in the UFC, and then I started investigating the calf kick and all that shit. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I had no idea. Like, that's why you target these things. And I mean, if you hit that nerve, you can't walk, so then it like compromises your mobility and you get smashed.
Oh yes. And see, that's why. And this is kind of why it's like, to me, like Muay Thai is, I honest to God think that's like, if we were to like break away from like say MMA, right? Because MMA, of course, like that's mixed martial arts, so you can include everything up in it. I'm not gonna lie, I know people be sitting up here saying boxing is brutal, and don't get me wrong, boxing is brutal in its own right. Don't get me wrong here, but I'm gonna say Muay Thai has a good run for its money. No, like real talk, like Muay Thai definitely sits up here and got a good run for its money, because I mean, granted, if you look at people that do Muay Thai, like, yes, they are famously known like for their kicks, but there are punches still involved. You can incorporate some boxing into Muay Thai. Like, I can get a Muay Thai fighter to put them through some boxing and things like that. I couldn't put no boxer through no Muay Thai. I'm just sorry, because what they say about boxers, right? You take away a boxer's legs, that's it. They're done. A Muay Thai fighter? Nah. You take away my legs if you want. Okay. I still got punches. I still got knees.
Elbows.
I got elbows. Shit, yeah. I got a lot more at my disposal here.
Fucking brutal on the knees. I remember in that smoker I did, the guy was like, he was taller than me, so he was able to like get on top of me. And granted, I probably should have been defending against that, but he got on top like that and did the clinch and fucking like caught me in the liver with a knee. And I was like in damage control right there. I was just trying to like make sure I didn't crumple. Oh my god. At the knees. Yeah, pretty weird. I haven't gotten smoked hard with an elbow yet, but I hear that is, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, you can put so much force on that.
I've received and I have given elbows, not in combat, but in basketball. So, like, in basketball, I was taught, like, okay, bam, once you go ahead and you box out and you jump up, you grab the rebound, and you instantly come, like, right here in this position. And reason being, now before it started getting like positionalist and you having big men bring the ball up the court, no, you were going to sit up here and find a guard and you're going to get the outlet. But of course, in basketball, right, when you're playing defense, the possession doesn't end until you get the defensive rebound. And I used to be playing the center and the power forward position a lot. So I'm constantly by the rim and I'm constantly getting rebounds here, right? So I'm going ahead and grabbing it, and I would be sitting up there giving people, that elbow. I'm not going to lie, man. I've had a few people sitting up here and leaking out, and, I've received quite a bit. Now, granted, again, karate kind of helping because, okay, if you're getting hit in the face here, okay, like a punch in karate compared to an elbow from basketball, and it's just getting pivoted like that there, the karate punch is a lot harder. Way lot hard. Not to disregard getting hit in your face with an elbow, because don't get me wrong, it's gonna end up stinging. But you got adrenaline going. The energy up in the building is carrying you, and of course, right, like, and again, I'm trying to sit up here and I'm trying to get a scholarship here. I'm like, okay, no, I'm about to sit up here and go through hell and back to sit up here and to earn it. But yeah, man, an elbow is
because you can straight up like cut people with that because it's such a sharp, that bone, it like scrapes on your skull. It's like, oh man, brutal. So I see that you have this book right here.
Yes, sir.
This is the second book you've written, though.
Yep, this is the second book that I've written, but this is like this is the first kids book. This one is, and I'm a little bit more proud of this one than the first one. Don't get me wrong, like the first one, I go ahead and I put myself out there to kind of go ahead and help adults, especially dealing like with their mental health and things like that there. But with the second one though, the second one hit a lot harder. Because when I wrote the first one and I put it out in the gym, like all the kids were, so excited and they were, jumping up because, like they saw it. Like, of course, you're seeing me and a wolf and we're looking at a sunset, right? And, they've heard me howl before and things like that. And they were excited. They was like, Coach Chris, can we read? And I'm like,
it's a little spicy material.
yeah, I'm like, no, y'all didn't read the email that Coach Heath sent out? Like, no, it's for mature teens and, adults. And they were like, oh, but we want to read it. I'm like, okay, well, and they was like, well, Coach Chris, can you write us a book? And I'm like, okay, y'all, I will. And I think this happened up in in September. It did. It happened up in September, and between September and November, like we were getting a lot of influx of kids, being bullied, and some of them were very on a severe case, and so a lot of times, and the most common thing I was hearing was they were getting confused by adult figures, right? Like one adult would sit up here and say, no, go and tell the teacher, tell the principal, tell someone from administration, and the others would sit up here and say, hey, go and defend yourself. And understand, like, and granted, like, I'm not a parent, but I have been in a school administrative position because I'm a certified substitute with Lafayette Parish School System. And during my when I was getting my master's degree in grad school, I was a substitute teacher for the East Baton Rouge Parish as well. So combining both of them, I've been a substitute teacher for a year and a half now.
Nice.
And of course, right, like I would sit up here and I'm seeing all of these things here. But in this book, right, I talk about the character's name is David, right, and he's a fourth grader, 10 years old, and he really and truthfully just keeps to himself. He watches the Ninja Turtles, he reads books, and he hangs out with his best friend. His best friend, her name is Tay, and that's it. That's all that the kid really and truthfully does. So he keeps to himself. Well, he ends up actually getting his first encounter with bullying by a bully that because I wanted to paint the picture, Mr. Jacob, of showing like parents, teachers, principals, school administrators, martial art instructors, like these are the type of kids that are doing the bullying, right? So the bully comes in, and the bully is demanding money, like he's demanding their lunch money, their snack money. You get what I'm saying? And he ends up actually taking a yardstick. Now I know I like, granted, some classrooms don't have yardsticks anymore because it's been all digital, but these are the old school yardsticks. I'm talking about the ones that got like the metal engraving at the end.
I remember that. Yep.
Right. So and he actually uses that as a weapon, and so he is asking for the lunch money. David and Tay not paying attention. He goes up to him, right, and he takes David's books and he rips it, and then the bully ends up taking the ruler and actually cuts Tay with the ruler. Like, actually, Tay is legit bleeding from there. Now, granted, I did put up in there, because, again, this is a kid's book, but I'm being a little bit realistic here. Because keep in mind, I'm using 2003 and 2012's TMNT, and although those were kids' cartoons, they do have somewhat of dark themes here, right? Like they do. Like 2003 TMNT first season, when Leonardo beats the Shredder is beheaded.
Oh, really?
Yes, like he is beheaded. He is beheaded.
Damn.
Now, granted, it's not gory or anything else
But
like
still.
that there, right? But that still is a strong and a dark theme up in a kid's cartoon. I want to say 2012, when the Turtles face Splinter for the first time. Granted, they get away, but when they go back to see Master Splinter, like all the Turtles have cuts and they all have bruises. Now, granted, yes, there's no blood up in there, but you can clearly, like see all of that there. So I wanted to make sure, right, like you got something in there. And of course, I'm being realistic, right? Like you can't shy away from it. Yeah, if I hit you with a yardstick and that's metal, that's skin and flesh, you're going to get cut. You're going to bleed, right? But I did put it to where the blood wasn't as gory to the point where, hey, we got to call, like the school nurse got to up here, right? Call the ER to go and patch this up. No, like it was something that, the school nurse was able to go ahead and handle. But David ends up getting sad by that. And so, the principal kind of go ahead and takes control of the situation. He ends up giving him a book, right, that was made by a martial artist, right? And so, of course, that's to kind of calm David down and everything else like that there. Because, again, even though he didn't physically get touched, his friend got touched. His friend got touched really badly here, right? Like, real bad. And he's basically having a whole panic attack, a whole mental breakdown and everything. And so, his parents come, pick him up. They kind of was like, hey, we're going to go ahead and pull him from homeschool. We're going to go ahead and pull him from school, get him homeschool while y'all go ahead and get the situation here handled. And so from there, he actually ends up meeting the martial arts instructor. And I kind of made the martial arts instructor to be... if you go ahead and you read the book and you'll see it, right? Because I put the school up in there, right? Like, of course, the Fighting Roosters. So it's Fighting Roosters Martial Arts. That's the name of the school. And, of course, right, I end up putting one of the coaches in there, like from our gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to do that there because, like I said, this was more so for, for them. Like, they asked for it. They did, and I was like, okay. And all it did was just take me 5 days to write this.
Nice.
So yeah, I ended up doing that there. So of course, right, the martial arts coach now ends up showing David out style boxing, okay, which primarily focuses on like evading and using footwork, kind of like we're really basically Muhammad Ali. The float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Shokan karate, okay, and then finally jiu-jitsu, okay. And I chose those three styles in particular because those three styles have all non-lethal capabilities here, right? Like I can use out style boxing to go ahead and evade a punch. Like I can slip off to the side, I can use that backhand to get rid of like your punch, then I can go ahead, I can pivot and I can frame and I can push off, right? I defended myself without causing any harm, right? In Shokan Karate, you have the high block, you have the mid block, you have the low block, right? And in some karate practices, right, they end up doing a little bit of, it's called like Wing Chun, where it's basically like your palm is open and all you're doing is like this here, right?
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, wax on, wax off. Because again, like you're defending yourself. Defending yourself doesn't mean that you have to essentially hurt the other person. No, defending yourself means that you're just, protecting yourself. And that is protecting yourself. And lastly, of course, right, we're using jiu-jitsu. And we all know, jiu-jitsu is a grappling base. But, of course, the coaches always preach this here. Position before submission, right? And, of course, if you were putting in a position, like you can get somebody up in side control and just put pressure up on them. And, you don't have to go for like an Americana or, any type of choke or anything else like that there. No, you could just keep them up inside, like inside control, just put pressure like on their chest, on their diaphragm to the point where they can't get up. Yeah. Right. And in the book, I actually depreciate that. So when the second time comes around, right, now this bully is getting a lot more violent. This bully is now actually using some scissors to cut Porte's hair.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. Yes. And he is also using a textbook. And keep this in mind now, like the story is kind of somewhat taking place. We're talking about the early 2010s here. You get what I'm saying? So, and I've seen textbooks. Like textbooks are this thin now.
Right, yeah.
I mean, back in my days, textbooks were this thin. So that's what he's using to do that there. And of course, right, he's also throwing punches too. So I have, David using out-style boxing to kind of go ahead and invade. I have him using Shokan karate of actually parrying, not like not dodging. Now parrying. Parrying is, hey, I deflected something and I was able to dish something out at the same time. He just connects with one hit, and that was just that one straight punch. He just goes from a high block and to a step in punch. Of course, right, we kind of in kickboxing you would call it like the running two. I mean, you may have seen. I know Coach Mead. He ended up teaching that in one of the MMA practices. Like you throw that one, and then when you throw that two, you're actually, instead of just pivoting off of the foot like a normal two, you're actually just stepping through with it. Mm-hmm, so now you can go ahead. You can switch stances. I kind of myself. I played with that there because you want to be able to fight in southpaw and ortho. And then lastly, I have David using jiu-jitsu. I basically have him getting like a back take, him like controlling the back. Then he foot trips, rotates, gets him down, and then puts him in mount. And then he just stays up in mount until the principal and the teacher comes. And I picture it like that there because I understand and I get it, right? And I'm not no parent, but at times, right, like you can't control another person's shot. And, the school administration can only do so much, right? Unless that school administrator or school staff is someone trained like myself, right? They're not going to be able to sit up and they're not going to be able to deflect no situation. Now, granted, yes, this is elementary. We're talking here up into the book and into the story, right? But like, let's just say, for instance, this was in middle school or in high school, right? Like Nish, they just sit up here, just had this incident here, not too like this past week, right? And it's one of those things where, like if that was me up in there, okay, I can break this up. Like I'm trained to break this up and not to sit up here, and I don't need to cause no harm to anybody. I could go ahead, I could de-escalate the situation, but for a child that's actively going through that and getting bullied, and now, Mr. Jacob, you're a father now. If little Sam has a bully like that, though, Sam's gonna have to. Yeah, Sam's gonna have to probably put him to sleep. Sam's gonna have to put this kind. No, for real. Like Sam's gonna have to put this kind of bully to sleep because this kind of bully here is he, like how the kids say it now, he a crash out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, like for real. Like I make him to be a crash out.
Damn.
In chapter 1, wouldn't you say? Like if he's taking a yardstick and and beating somebody with a yardstick, that is a full on. That's a full on crash out. It is. That's a full on crash out, man. But nah, I wanted to go ahead, right? And like I say, I'm very more so proud of this one here than the first one, and like I say, it's just because I actually target everyone. So I talk about it from, of course, right, the kid's perspective, right? With David, with Tay.
It is good to have someone that the kids look up to talk about that type of thing too, because I mean, I remember whenever I was in school, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the same boat, but how you're talking about, you get mixed signals from the adults about it, and then there's so many kids that are like, they end up, it just keeps on persisting, and they just endure more psychological and physical trauma than really is necessary if they were to just stand on their ground and deal with it, and the teachers will never say to do that. So then to have somebody in a self-defense gym talking about how to handle that and everything, I mean, it's like, it's very good. You definitely don't want your kid to get bullied or, and they might not even talk about it and they have to endure it. So then it helps for them to just know self-defense and, I can't.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely say, and granted, like I'm biased, I mean, my mom, she put me up in karate, and that was the first martial art that I ever that I ever knew. If, of course, right, like if I had to do all over again, or if I ever do have a child, I think the first thing that I want to teach them is boxing, but then it's going to slowly be followed by either wrestling or jiu-jitsu, right? Like, you're going to need those two up in your bread basket. Like, we don't necessarily got to add kicks. Now, granted, I'll teach you how to defend a kick, and how to check kicks and things like that there. But no, like, I would very more so encourage parents, because the harsh reality of it is you can't really, like, be with them at school.
Mm-hmm.
When they're coming up, and then when they come up, eventually they're gonna leave. Like, they're gonna leave, they're gonna grow up, they're gonna live their life on their own, and this is something that can carry with them. Like, and I'm a prime example of that. Like I say, I've done martial arts since I was 4 years old. I'm now 28, so this is two decades plus. And granted, yes, I did take like a big break, in between to focus like on other endeavors, but I always was around it. I was always around it. During like my off seasons of football, I got with Darius Lewis. He's one of the boxing coaches at the UFC gym in Baton Rouge off of Sherwood. He actually ended up doing this MMA smoker at Gladiators at HQ.
Really?
Oh yeah, he did. And that was like my boxing instructor for the off season. So the off season for football, because I wanted to just work on hand speed so much. Yeah, like I was with him. I was definitely with him here, because when it comes to pass rush, you gotta get to the quarterback. Done deal and over with, and you gotta be fast to do it. And because I'm sitting up here and I've got to chase down like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyle Murphy's of the world. Like, that's the kind of caliber of quarterbacks as far as speed goes that I gotta try to sit up. I gotta try to get after. So, we end up taking boxing, kind of helped me in that regards there. So, but yeah, I like up in the book, and I target kids, how you handle it as a school teacher, how you handle it as a principal, and even too when you go ahead and you handle it, as parents, right? To again, give you that insight there, because I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I said, like during that time frame between September to November, I was seeing around, not just at the gym of what the kids were going through, but other kids and what they were, going through as well. Parents putting the pictures on social media. Like, I remember there was one girl, I believe this was Karen Crow Middle or Karen Crow High. Man, just a Jacob, like half of her face was swolled up from getting jumped, and I was like,
damn.
I was like, bruh, and she literally had a concussion. She had to get a CT scan and all that there. Jeez. And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you send your kids to a place where you have no control, hoping that everything's going to be fine, and they're trying to learn, and then with the threat of getting jumped, it's like you want to equip them with the tools that they need to at least be able to get out of the situation, not have it happen. So, I mean, it's very important to know. I mean, that is what got me initially into martial arts myself, because I was in the same boat as you with the bullying, and I looked like Harry Potter whenever I was growing up, so it was like constant berating of that. And that's my mom put me in Taekwondo, and then I gotten my black belt first degree, I think whenever I was like 13 or 14, and I ended up using it against the bully, and it worked. I mean, I was able to smoke him in the jaw and then teep him to keep him at bay. But I mean, without that, it would have just continued. And
oh yeah,
so it's definitely useful to have in your tool bag as a kid.
Oh yes, indeed. And like, and again, like, I'm not sitting up here, and I will not tell anybody how to like raise their child or their kid. I can only speak on as a coach and as a school administrator. And I'm a passionate uncle. I got over 30 nieces and nephews, because I got 10 siblings.
Dang, nice.
Yeah, man. So, but of course, like, I'm always like training them like whenever I can. I encourage them to, actually like stay on top of it, because I rather would see them get in trouble defending themselves, right, than seeing them go to the hospital for something like this here. Because, and I tell this to people all the time, right? Like, at the end of the day, we do have feelings, but there also are some facts. And the fact of the matter is, if you get hit on your head too many times here, that is a concussion. And I don't think people really understand that the brain is one of those muscles that doesn't get repaired very easily. Like there sometimes there is permanent damage up into the brain here, right? So you're wanting to sit up here and take that risk. And don't get me wrong, like I get it. Like, yes, I do get it that like times are hard. You feel what I'm saying? I know some folks are still probably recovering from the government shutdown and being laid off, and all of these things here. But again, like, this is an investment for your child, and martial arts does bring another a whole bunch of other qualities other than just the physical aspects of it. One of the principles I talk about up in my book is actually Bushido, right? And of course I learned that from the Ninja Turtles, but then of course, like, my karate instructor, he also ended up teaching me that as well. So being able to learn that kind of principle there at such a young age, and being able to still like carry it on absolutely, right? Like, and you've seen us as coaches at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu, right? Where we're sitting up here, we're getting on these kids about being accountable, right? We're getting on these kids about having some honor, being respectful, being disciplined, both inside of the gym and outside the gym. And that legit can carry over, and it carries over into all like their aspects here. Like, these are aspects that you're getting within a gym membership, right, of self-defense, of a form of combat. And then also, right, you get, and it's also your health as well. Because I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, man, and I'm probably gonna get some crap for some of the guys here, right? Because again, I'm the head strength and conditioning coach. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I sit up here and I mean, I don't dodge hell every now and again, right? Like, I'll sit up here and I got a Domino's pizza, right? Like, I'll sit up here and I'll get a Domino's pizza, like, afterwards. Now, granted, I do keep it healthy. I put chicken, it'd be hand tossed. I put green bell peppers on there, and that's it. Like, that's it. And at that point, like, I'll go ahead and I'll eat, but I'll still be good to go. I'll still be able to roll and things like that there. But it's really like you're getting three things into one, though. Whenever you go ahead, and whether you want to invest your child up in martial arts, or whether you yourself want to invest up in the martial arts. And that's kind of what I wanted to send the message out with a Young Warriors victory, right? Which is, hey, you gotta sit up here, you gotta actually do it. Like, you have to sit up here, you have to do it. I don't think it's one of those things that you could no longer ignore or should be ignored at all. Now, I do plan on kind of continuing this series a little bit here, because I also want to explore. I want to also like teach the parents. Okay, well, what if my child is the one doing the bullying? Right? Like, how am I supposed to sit up and how I'm supposed to like handle that? Chris, what would be like your suggestion to it? Okay, no. Still put them up in martial arts, because they're going to get humbled.
Yes.
You're going to get humbled. Like, you thought you was big and bad until you ran into someone that was a little bit bigger and a little bit badder than you. So guess what happened? You just got yourself a good big piece of humble pie. Right?
There's always bigger fish out there. Right.
And then, of course, you would start to realize, okay, hey, you got to have some honor about yourself, right? Because I'm not going to sit up here and start nothing. And nor do we teach the kids at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu to start anything, right? Or even with some of the teens that, I train, or any of the kids that I train. Like, I teach them, like, hey, we're not going to sit up here. We're not going to ever start nothing. And you're not supposed to sit up here and start nothing. You know, you're supposed to sit up here, handle it, you know, peacefully, verbally, and if you agree to disagree, you walk off. By no means does that mean that you be physical. Now, if it get physical, then you defend yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like you know a martial art. You train up in the martial art. Go ahead, utilize it to actually save yourself here. Mm-hmm. You know, because like I say, I can rest assured to you folks, my foot surgery that I mentioned earlier. Yeah. Granted, I didn't come out of pocket with it. I mean, I still looked at the bill. Yeah, that thing there was $12,000.
Jeez.
And we're talking about a foot. Let's not sit up here and let's not talk about like anything up here in the head area or, you know, the back or anything else like that there can come from a fight, right? So, you know, I would definitely say, no, go ahead, put your kids up in it because, you know, you're not going to be able to also fight your kids' battles. And sometimes they got to fight their own, you know, and like as adults, at least what my father told me. My father told me, he was like, son, my job is to sit up here, right, and to give you the tools, you know, needed in order for you to sit up here and to protect, because he's old, like very old. Like he's like I say, he's like 82, I think. 82, 83.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you're 28 and he's 82. So
oh,
that's like a big gap there.
Oh, yeah. The gap goes even deeper than that. Like up in my first book, I mentioned my grandpa Elliot. That's my middle name. He was born in the 1800s.
Damn.
He was. Like, I made a post on Veterans Day putting him up in there because he fought in World War I.
Oh man!
Yeah, like he was born in.
They just like having kids super late in life.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Mr. Jacob. Like I can only say that from major depictions, you know, from that time frame, they're like Red Dead Redemption 2, right? He would have lived in that time frame because he was born in 1889, and Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place in 1899. So he's 10 years old when the story of Red Dead, you know, starts.
That's crazy.
And yeah, he yeah. So you know, but from there, right, and of course, like with my father and all that time frame there, he's, you know, said, well, Chris has, you know, you're gonna be a man one day, son, and well, you gotta be able to protect women and children, right? Like that was the first lesson I learned for manhood, and of course, you know, I predicate that more so than ever. You know, like I commend all the fathers that go to, you know, Acadiana Jiu Jitsu, right? You know, gladiators, head kicks, or you know, you take a form of combat at all. Like I commend you because that's what it's actually supposed to be, and then you see that trickle effect, you know, go down on the kids. So now, like, it's like, okay, well, the kids want to sit up here, and the kids now want to do it, and now it's like, okay, you all now have that ability to the point where y'all can protect yourselves against any harm or any danger that may be, you know, coming your way, because you never know when it's going to come. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't want it to. We want to be optimistic, right? We don't want it to sit up here. We don't want it to come. But if it do come, well,
handle the business.
Right. Like, needless to say, right, we can go ahead and we can handle up on business. So, the book is out on Amazon and on Barnes and Noble. I'm trying to go ahead and see if I can get it on Books of a Million as well. But yeah, I mean, and it's a very short book because I know sometimes kids don't really necessarily like to read. I have illustrations in there.
Excellent. The pictures help.
Yeah, to go ahead and to, you know, help out in that regard there. But yeah, man, it's only $10.
Nice.
Like it's only $10. Like I wasn't, you know, I think my first one, I was selling that for like 16, 17. But this one here, I'm like, nah, man, I'm not trying to sit up here and break the bank at all. I just wanted to go ahead and I wanted to give out something that can help out folk out there, to help out kids out there. Schools, martial arts gyms, you know, in that regard there to a subject that, like I say, we saw a good prime example of that this week, with what had happened, at Nish. So definitely, it's out there. I hope folk do go ahead, and I hope that they do read it. I hope that they do enjoy it. I do plan on having a book signing.
I was about to say, yeah. They can snag a copy and come to the gym or wherever you're going to be doing it.
Oh, yeah. So the first one's definitely going to be at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. Because, like I say, if it wasn't necessarily for the kids really pushing me to really do that there, I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have done it. Now, granted, I would have done like a martial arts story. Don't get me wrong here. I was going to kind of make it to be a little bit like a combination of Bloodsport and the anime, which my favorite one is Afro Samurai. That's my that's my favorite one, just because of Samuel L. Jackson himself.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I was like, no, I'm gonna end up writing this one here for the kids. So now, like, I'm definitely gonna end up doing one there. I kind of just want to make sure, because I know CJ, he's got a fight on the 31st. I know we got some kids that are prepping up for GSF, from there. So I'm kind of end up doing it sometime, maybe like next month. So yeah, and of course, like I said, everyone's going to be welcome to be coming, and to be invited. Definitely though, I would love to sit up here. I would love to get the kids, more so like up in there, and yeah. Nice. I think it would definitely be something that, because granted, like the other gyms in the other areas, they don't necessarily have, something like that there. But now you do have something, right? You have something out there where you can, like actually show the kids, like, hey, it's okay. Because I don't think it's really a physical thing. I think it's more so of a mental thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially if you're getting mixed signals and you're not sure how to handle it.
Right. Now, granted, up in the book, I don't necessarily put that problem, like, in there, so to speak. I think that was kind of like one of, if you was to ask me, okay, well, Chris, like, what was the one thing that you feel as if there was an area of opportunity up in the book? That was definitely that there. I kind of make it to where, the principal, you would say, kind of puts him on the path, but without actually saying it or doing it. Because again, he's giving him a book made by a martial artist, right? His parents then go and take him, and then the parents and David end up meeting the martial artist. And now that David's about to get homeschooled, well, he still needs PE. He still needs physical, education. And we got some kids that are homeschooled at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. Well, guess what? He's about to sit up here. He's about to learn martial arts as his PE. So I don't make it out to where the child is having that mental, like, back and forth battle at least from the parents. It's more so dealing with himself, because it's kind of like, wait, like, because again, once he sees his friend getting messed up, he don't know what to do. He's shell shocked. He doesn't know what to do. And rightfully so, because he ain't been physically taught at all. Like, he hasn't been physically taught all of those mental things that we try to install at the kids at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. He's never been taught. But after 3 months, which is, okay, that's a quarter of a year, right? So a little bit of a quarter of a year with that training and with that consistency, he shows physically and mentally that he can, like, handle himself up in that situation. Because God, that's the truth, Mr. David. That's all it takes. All it takes is 90 days, and yeah, you can do some things now, right? Like, you can. I do feel as if though, right, with the proper training, the proper guidance, after 90 days, you can defend yourself against, say, like, the average person that doesn't know anything at all. Right, so if, like, say you're a woman and, you got a guy who's about to sit up here and come rape you, okay, cool. That's basically you up in mount or you up in guard from a jiu-jitsu perspective. Okay, you already know how to defend from that.
Yeah, it's not going to be unfamiliar territory.
Right, and to get yourself up out of that there. If you're a kid who, and hey, you got somebody, striking you. You've taken kickboxing. Okay, I know I can sit up here and I know I can catch 1-2 and I can throw a T. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just those things there, man, that I do truly believe, like, hey, if you're gonna go ahead, right, you want to invest up into this book here, then you go ahead and you go for the fullness of it, because like I say, it's something that you're giving the kids the protection that they need.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them the protection that they need without having to do anything at all, but legit. Pay a gym membership, and then of course pushing them, right? Still giving them that reinforcement, because right, as coaches, like, yeah, I can push. I can go ahead and I push the kids too. Don't get me wrong, I do. But once they hear it from their parent, it's gonna hit a little bit differently, right?
Yeah.
Now, granted, I grew up in this era here, Mr. Jacob. I grew up in the era of if they hit you, you hit them back. Because if you don't, then guess who you fighting? You fighting me. And I don't think you want to fight me. No. I remember it was one time, I remember my dad, he grabbed me like by my forearm because I made an F on a test and I was playing basketball. He came up to the court in front of everybody. I said, Dad, no, the teacher gonna end up fixing it. Christopher? And then he just grabbed me like this here.
That iron old man grip.
I said, I have never felt my dad's strength before until this day here. He was up in I think he was in his mid-70s at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, y'all, I'm gonna catch y'all later. Chris, you gotta finish the game. Y'all, I'm gonna catch y'all later. And then, like, afterwards, I'm sitting up and I'm asking him, I'm like, Dad, how you get grip strength like that there? Oh, no, son. I used to see some of the stuff that Mr. Armlin used to put you through. I'm like, and even he started doing it. I'm sitting up there and I'm like, well, wait a minute. When the hell you started doing Iron Fist training, man? Like, yeah, and he would sit up here. Now, granted, he does, like, variations of it, with the push-ups. Playing with the sand and all that. But I'm just sitting up here and I'm like, man, I did not even know I had that kind of influence on my father.
That's pretty great.
I really didn't. Like, I didn't know. When he told me that there, and then, go by and I see his setup, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, he's sitting up here and he's doing it. And, now granted, like, he don't fight or anything else like that. That he more so does it because, he hunts, and he hunts with a bow. And so when he's gripping that bow, he wants to make sure that he's really strong.
Yeah.
Like with it, because he has a compact bow. And well, yeah, he just wants to make sure he's got nothing but grip strength on that there. So yeah, I definitely encourage folk to buy this book here, and not even this book here. Like, if you want to go ahead and you want to get like another book, go ahead and go so forth. I mean, but this one here though, like, I make it out to really be in the most relatable way possible. You have a child that's never been bullied before. They get bullied very severely, because I would say, right, from a school administrative perspective, this is a severe case of bullying. This is a very severe case of bullying here because blood got spilled. Right? Although it wasn't much, or it wasn't to the point where, hey, we gotta get, we gotta call emergency services. No, for sure, this was still like a severe case, and you don't want to prolong it because it's gonna end up ballooning, and you're only gonna be able to take so much. And then once it spills and it gets ugly, and we have those type of situations, like what happened this past week, at Nish, as a school administrator, you got to sit up here and take full responsible and accountability. I put that in there, on the teacher and also, on the principal up in this book. Like, they took accountability because there weren't no cameras in this school. Now, granted, and like I say, this is taking place in the early 2010s here, right? And because, hey, there's low funding, and then these low, funding areas, right? Of course, you're not going to sit up here, you're not going to have money to put cameras every which way like you do now, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but of course I show that and how, hey, school administration, this is how you kind of somewhat attack this kind of problem here, right? Like, you gotta understand that you want to attack the problem because you don't want to have that, like, on your campus, because that's just a bad look on you. I mean, I know some folks are gonna agree, they're gonna have split feelings, right, on the mom going there, right? But like I said, I'm looking at this from a school administrator's perspective. School, you failed. You failed the students. You failed yourselves. Y'all failed the parish. Y'all did. And I'm sorry to kind of say it like that there, but you didn't stop the bullying from happening. Because, at times, well, you got kids who, be wanting to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And some, unfortunately have because of the bullying. So it's like, okay, if you're able to combat that and stop that, then yes. Now, don't get me wrong here. It's a very uncomfortable thing. It is a hard thing to do. But, yeah, there's a such thing called taxpayer dollars that you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And, you got to do it. Now, if you feel as if, though, you're not physically able to do it, because most schools, they get the coaches, right, to sit up here and break up these kind of fights here, right? Because, we're big, we're strong, we're athletic enough. Okay, cool. We get that there. But all school administrative, I truly believe y'all need to start taking some jiu-jitsu lessons. Like, full God honest truth. Because, again, you want to get something non-lethally. If you were to ask my opinion, right, as a coach, as a martial arts school administrator, I believe the 3 arts you need to learn is you need to learn out-style boxing, because out-style boxing, has those capabilities to where it's all predicated on footwork and it's all predicated on defense, right? And you go ahead and you counter. It's not to say you won't be aggressive. You be aggressive, but you only be aggressive when the other person messes up. But from a school administrative perspective, you're going to be learning how to slip, how to roll, how to dodge punches, right? I would say you might want to learn a little bit of Wing Chun, because, again, it's that wax on, wax off moment. You're not able to parry punches. And, of course, with jiu-jitsu, and we talked about it earlier, right? Like, you're grappling. You're getting them down to the ground. You're securing a dominant position to where you're cutting off the body's ability to produce all of the force it can. Like, if someone wants to sit up here, right, and, like, grab my hips, I'm not about to be able to generate no kind of force and no kind of power at all. Hell, if you putting all your weight and all your pressure on my diaphragm to chest here, I don't have nothing. I mean, granted, I could probably use my arms and frame inside like how I'm supposed to, but I have little to nothing. That's not going to sit up here and, honest to God truth, like, hurt you or any form, way, shape, or fashion.
Just disables the threat, yeah.
Right, and that's all you want to do. All you have to do is just sit up here and disable them non-lethally. And all 3 of those forms of combat that I named, they all have non-lethal principles apply to them. Not saying that they can't be lethal, because
choke long enough. Yeah.
Right, you choke long enough. Okay, cool. If I, put a lot of pressure, like, right here, and I hit you on your diaphragm and spearhand you, that's gonna hurt. And of course, right, well, we know boxing, right? Like, boxing is self-explanatory. You're gonna get hit enough in the head quite a few times, and yeah, you're gonna go night.
Turn your brain into soup.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, man, like, I really do believe, though, like, they need that, type of training.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Like they do. I would say invest, really and truthfully, you just need 2 days out the week. That's really it. All you really need to do is do 2 days out the week. You train up in those arts there. You do a little bit of strength and conditioning twice out the week. Just lift weights. and do mobility, and that's it. I'm not sitting up here saying that you gotta be like me or like you, Mr. Jacob, but at least give yourself a chance to sit up here and to combat it and to stop it, right? Like, because again, you don't want messes like this here at Niche. You don't like messes like this.
I'm not even actually caught up on what happened with that. What was the circumstance there?
So what happened was there was a mom that they're saying that they on social media, right? They're saying in the media that she disguised herself as a student to beat up the a child that was bullying hers.
And how old was the kid?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I do know that they were up in high school though.
Okay.
That much I do know. And
Damn.
like, granted, they're saying students, so I don't really know which slice of the pie or which angle to really go at. But still though, man, like that, like I say, from just a school administrative perspective, that was something where I'm like, no. Like, as school administrators, y'all are supposed to be trained. Now, granted, yes, schools sit up in school have police officers.
They can't be everywhere. There's
Right,
only
but
a handful.
You can't be everywhere. I mean, if you only got one or two, they're not gonna sit up here and be, everywhere, right? Like, I kind of put the setting like up in my book, where the teacher and the principal, it's kind of like a 3 to 5 minute like delay before like an adult actually gets up in there to stop that. And
3 to 5 minutes,
right? And we already know it. Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. That's a long time.
That's plenty of time.
That's a long time to be sitting up here right and be fighting. I mean, shit, we do 3 and 5 minute rounds all the time at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu. Hell, shit, we sit up here and at times, shout out to Coach Jules, because so at times he be making us do 8-minute rounds, and you sit up here and you be like, you just give him the side look, and then you try not to make it too much, because he'll be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to just smash it, and then he just proceeds to just sit up just smashing you and getting you.
Oh man!
No, like he'll dissect you, like he'll choke you out, then he'll attack your arms, then he'll sit up here and he's gonna go after your legs after that, and he's gonna end up repeating the whole process, going backwards. That's what I say.
Oh no!
But nah, man, it's just really like something that, hopefully, like I say, our Barrier Parish school board system kind of like takes that approach. I really wish all school systems across like the country, sit up here and kind of take up upon that thing. And it's really simple. You just sit up here, right, and you go to a gym. You sit up here, you go to a gym, and you can get that contracted out. I'm talking about like the logistics of it. I do remember, like, because right now I'm substituting at Live Oak Elementary, and I believe it was B Jiu Jitsu. Like, B Jiu Jitsu went there, and they kind of had like a 5-day thing where they went and after school, showing the kids, different things like that there. So definitely like work out the logistics of it. I'm gonna show, like, listen, if the taxes gotta go up a little bit to make this happen, I know it's gonna suck people. I know, because, well, hey,
everybody hates taxes.
Yeah, everybody hates taxes. But if we're saying, okay, extra 10 cents. I mean, what's the extra 10 cents from everybody? You feel what I'm saying? To sit up here and to make sure, hey, like, these teachers are equipped to sit up here, right, and to do their job, to sit up here, right, and to protect our our kids. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like I would okay, cool. Yeah, it's worth it. And yeah, it's something that, yeah, you don't hear it often. I haven't heard it at all from no major media outlets at all. From Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I haven't heard like no celeb say it. I haven't heard no UFC star say it, or anything else like that there. But I do believe, though, it is something like, hey, there's a chance to really. That's something that you can explore. And like I say, there's plenty of martial arts gyms to go around. I'm not too much familiar with like our Barrier Parish, I know St. Mary Parish, at least Baldwin and the Franklin area, like they don't have that there at all. But it's like, okay, well, still branch out, still call, still do something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like I say, like it's your job and your responsibility to shape up our kids right for the future. But that also does mean you do have to protect them, because guess what? If there's a full on lockdown because of like a school shooting or incident, a fire, something like that, hell, you're trained to sit up here and we're trained to handle those situations there. That's a form of protection.
Yep.
Right? So of course if a fight's breaking out, all right, then yeah, you protect the person who is unfortunately at the wrong receiving end of the of the fight. Right? Like, do it. Like, please sit up here and please do it. And I get it, right? Like, you may have a health issue here or there. That's all understandable. But again, you come to say like Acadiana Jiu Jitsu where you have strength and conditioning in me to go ahead and get your body strengthened and conditioned to perform all of the movements that are required or are going to be taught by Coach Heath, by Coach Clayton, by Coach CJ, by Coach Walt, or any of the other coaches. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to sit up here and it's going to work. No, is it going to be hard? Yeah, it's going to be hard. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. It don't matter what martial art, form of combat you learn. Yes, it's going to be hard and, grueling at first. It will. But to me, it only takes 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. For me, it does. Like
most things worth doing are hard though. So then there's that. But yeah, you get used to it for sure. I remember my cardio was, and like sitting around at a desk job, you just don't really get that exposed, right? That your cardio sucks. But it's instantly when I went in there, I was like, oh my god, I would be like cannon fodder if I got into this situation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but no, like really, and you can break it down like this here. So normally, you would train, like do strength and conditioning, say in the morning before you go to work. I have my 6 a.m. class before I go to work. Then at that point, I got like a little bit of a break, but I'm getting dressed. Okay, bam, I head to the school, 7:45, right? Now from there, I go ahead with my class. I'm doing my thing. I have lunch, right? And of course, folks will ask, okay, well, what am I supposed to eat in preparation for? Because if you're forward thinking and following along, yes, you're going to be doing whatever form of combat you're doing after you get off from work, because you're going to be leaving at 3:30 to 4 o'clock anyway. Normally there's a few options I do. My main one though is I'm going to do 2 pieces of Dave's thin toast. So that's only got about 70 calories. I'll do then 2 chicken sausage links. That's only got about 80 calories, but 13 grams of protein in each one. And then I'm doing in the neighborhood of anywhere between 3 to 5 eggs. Okay. Eggs got about 70 calories, 60 grams of protein. I mean, not 60 grams, 6 grams.
I was about to say, this is some ostrich eggs eating right there.
No, but of course, the reason why I said 60 because the golden rule of it, because I know I haven't talked about nutrition as much as I probably should have. So, if you want to know if a food is good for you in protein, the rule of thumb is, I'm going to use chicken sausage for example. 8 calories to 13 grams of protein. You add a 0 to the end of that number of the protein. And if that number is higher than the amount of calories, then that is a great source of protein for you to have. People always want to say about peanut butter. Peanut butter is that's overrated for a protein source. I'm just sorry. Because, again, it's got so many calories in a tablespoon, and even if we do that number, like that trick, like the rule of thumb, you got 130 calories to only 70 grams of protein. That's not gonna equivalent. Now, if you do chicken sausage, you got 80 calories to 130 grams of protein, right? Like we're good. That will be a good source. So I'll do that there. The biggest one though that I like to do And I put so many folks on this here, and it's a funny story. So, MMA practice, right? 2 o'clock on Sundays. This was in preparation, for the last RFC before the year ended out, and Coach Tim Crater was there. And I said afterwards when we got done, I was going to enjoy myself a nice chicken crust pizza. He was like, Chris Jones, ain't no such thing as that there. And we got Coach Walt like, nah, bro, like don't do that. Chris gonna prove you wrong. I'm like, no, watch. I'm gonna go ahead and show it. Now granted, cause I told this to CJ and I told this to Coach Me like in preparation because CJ had a fight up in November that he took last minute, but he stayed on the weight, like he stayed on weight. And of course, right, Coach Me, he's still going through that there. And I showed him that. I was like, okay, watch this here. So I ended up getting my phone. I ended up showing him. He was like, well, I'll be goddamn. Like, you just was shot this problem. Like, no, this is an actual real thing. So the way in which it goes is you get a pound of ground chicken. You put that up in the mixing bowl. You're going to end up putting 2 eggs. I like to put parsley, basil, onion powder, garlic powder, and a tablespoon of honey. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to put that on a baking sheet. I'm going to bake that at anywhere in the neighborhood between 25 35 minutes at 425 degrees. Okay, cool. I'm going to take it out. And then at that point there, I'm going to proceed to put my pizza sauce. I like to use pepper jack cheese. And then at that point, you can put whatever toppings you want. Normally, I like to do like turkey slices, chicken sausage. I've seen some folk they put like turkey bacon up on it. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You could do whatever protein you really want. You can even do some ground beef if you really and truthfully wanted to. Like you can, it's your pizza.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And because the crust is already made of protein itself, ain't the other protein that you add up onto it just add extra. Now, granted, you're going to be like, okay, well, Chris, where are my carbs going to come from, right? Where is my sodium and my potassium and all these other minerals and things that the body needs, right, to come in? Okay, here's your answer. Berries. That there is your answer right there. And it could be, anything. It could be raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. I kind of like to do a mixture of all of them myself.
Yeah, like a smoothie. Or did you just eat them straight up?
Yeah, I'll just eat them straight up. I'll just go ahead and I'll eat them straight up. I'm going to put some honey up in it because that is all carbs, right? There's carbohydrates. I know a lot of times people be like, oh, well, carbs are the enemy. The carbs are not necessarily the enemy, people. Understand that the body has 2 fuel sources. It has fat and it has carbohydrates. So do understand that, yeah, you're going to need both of them, right? For the short burst, the fat is needed. For the long haul, the carbs are needed. But either which way it goes, they're going to both end up being used throughout the course of a day. So, of course, you wake up in the morning, you're going to train at 6 a.m. Now, folks ask, okay, well, what do you train with? Now, typically, I train on a water fast. I drank about anywhere in the neighborhood between, a quarter of a gallon to a half a gallon of water. And then once I go to the restroom, once I see, okay, my urine is clear, that means I'm hydrated, I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, I know for ladies, it's kind of on the harder side. You can go ahead and you can eat like a banana. You can eat a banana or you can eat a watermelon. I would advise to also put some honey on there. You feel what I'm saying? Drink your water. Shit, you ready to rock and roll. You ready to go. Okay, cool. And then afterwards, like I say, you can eat your whatever lunch, and then of course you go and you train up in your martial art, and then you can still like eat the same thing like afterwards, right? Or any of those meals or anything like similar to that there. Now, if you be like, okay, well, Chris, that's like a little bit too heavy for me. Okay, then which they won't be. They're not going to be heavy at all, and the reason being why they're not heavy because it's a lot of fiber that's going up into those places there. So you're still going to be good. You're still going to be straight. But then if not, then I'm not going to lie, man. Nice, good, old-fashioned turkey sandwich or chicken deli, sandwich or something like that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're good to go.
You talking about the carbs reminded me that whenever I was like, trying to dial in my nutrition for all these the activities, it's like, especially like doing the long duration, I'll do like the 2 classes back to back, like kickboxing into jiu-jitsu, or sometimes like yoga before all of that. So then like that's 3 hours straight. And I was like, man, why is it that like only during this time does my sweat start to smell heavy like ammonia, right? If I'm doing yard work, that doesn't happen. And I started like chat GPTing it up, and apparently like I just wasn't eating enough carbs. And so then it starts burning your muscle, and that breaks down, and like a byproduct of that is the ammonia smell. And I was like, man, that is just so crazy, like to know that I'm not even like I drink a big smoothie with a bunch of oatmeal in there before I go, and that's still not enough. So then I started putting sugar in my water with my electrolytes, and like just knowing what the causes for the deficiency, and like fixing that, it totally changed how my sustain was while I was able to keep it going. It's crazy, man.
Oh yeah, and see, like these were some of the things that, of course, like over time. Ironically enough, I did not learn. I learned this post football.
Really?
Like 80% of the stuff that you would see like on my social media that I put folks through and all that there, and like the knowledge and everything, 80% of it has come post football.
Huh.
Like the other 20, does come from football. It has been there. I would say, because I've had to gain weight. I've had to gain weight. I've had to cut weight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's always was fluctuating. Not because I would say my freshman year. I knew I had to be big, but the way that they had the cafeteria set up was we had burger station, we had like a Asian station, and then we had like a buffet station. And I was under the impression that I had to eat all three of them every day.
That you had to.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I started ballooning up. Now, granted, I was still playing. I was still, moving well, but at the end of my freshman year, they're like, well, yeah, Chris, like, you were doing good, ball. Because there was 4 true freshman defensive linemen that we had. And I led them in tackles and tackles for loss. But they was like, well, Chris, you pulling some weight, man. I'm like, really? And I didn't even think so. Like, I really didn't. I got on the scale. I was 325. I'm like, oh, shit.
Damn.
Man, what in the world? I'm like, oh, no. I came in at 290, and then I got the 325. I'm like, ooh.
Man.
No, sir. And then I ended up, like, that whole month from there. Right? Because, remember, I got a month off. Went from 325 to 285.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then from there, I kind of kept my weight under control. Now, granted, I had that bearing foot injury, but, when I was healthy, I'm anywhere in the neighborhood between 280 to 295. And I was able to play very comfortably, like, at that level there. I got to somewhat into nutrition, but I didn't really get the full grasp of it until afterwards, right? Because of course, and granted, like, Coach Meade and CJ, they went ahead and they already had like nutritionists because they had their, their sponsorships through Impact. So they had Impact to go ahead and do and kind of handle that aspect there of it. But, it kind of gets boring. You don't want your food to be boring, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Now, granted, and I'm a country boy from a country part of Louisiana. I grew up on leftovers. Listen, red beans and rice, I could eat that
Right.
all day long. I can with cornbread and mac and cheese and chicken fried steak. I can eat that all day long. You can cook that I'm set.
It's like those types of meals too. You don't have to worry about shit. It's like you got your protein and your carbs all in the same meal. You just eat enough, as much as you want to add. You good?
Yes, indeed. But I do knew like, okay, well, fighters obviously you can't sit up here, you can't eat that. Like
Slam up red beans and rice every meal.
Yeah, you can't sit up here, you can't eat that during camp. Don't get me wrong, like there is a version that you can do. I know. Traditionally in Louisiana, we use pork sausage up in the red beans. Substitute the pork sausage with chicken sausage, right?
Yeah.
Then I would sit up here and I would actually say I wouldn't eat the rice. I would just eat the beans with the gravy by themselves because beans are a carb source. So it's like you're doubling carbs. Now, unless you're about to sit up here, let's say your line of work is construction. You do construction or you do welding and you gotta sit up here, you gotta come back and you gotta train. Alright, cool. Like that there could be suffice. I would probably say maybe do some grilled chicken breasts instead of fried chicken. From there and yeah. So it's kind of like those meals there because again, you don't want to just and it sucks. It sucks when you gotta sit up here and cut weight. Like CJ was just complaining that one of his kids ended up eating a whole Big Mac in front of his face, and he was like, "Damn, man, I can't sit up and I can't have it." And I'm like, you could theoretically, right? You could make it of your own. You feel what I'm saying, and kind of like tweak up the ingredients a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like you could still go ahead and you can still do it. It's just a matter of the quality of it there, right? Like I'm not gonna sit up here and I'm not, which I ain't gonna lie, man. I haven't eaten McDonald's. I think in like 12 years or something like that, though.
Damn.
But no, because if I could eat a Big Mac, I think a Big Mac is like 1,800 calories or something like that. I could
feel terrible after you eat it too, because it's like an illusion. Like you're like, oh yeah, this shit's gonna be good, and then you eat it, and like, man, why the hell did I do that?
Right. So if I sit up here and I say, okay, I'm gonna give me some grass-fed beef, you feel what I'm saying? Or of course, if I'm trying to lose weight or cut weight, okay, I'm gonna do chicken, I'm gonna do turkey. Hell, I'll even sit up here and I'll do deer or I'll do fish. Like I can change out the protein source from there. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Now at that point, I'm gonna do my sauce. I could still sit up here. I could do my buns. Hell, I've even seen some influencers sit up here and use like sweet potato buns. You feel what I'm saying? Like you can still enjoy it. You just gotta figure out what it is that you gotta sit up here and substitute and take out. But that's normally like what I do. For myself, and that's why I normally end up doing for the fighters. Because like I say, bro, it sucks sitting up here, and no knock to no nutrition company or no meal prep company or anything else like that there, right there, a fire will sit up here and have. Because don't get me wrong, majority of the time, you're going to be eating whatever them people end up drawing up. But let's just say you wanted to indulge, right? Like, it's the weekend. Okay, it's Saturday, which is supposed to be your rest day. Mm-hmm. I had to say that with a little bit of emphasis because I know a lot. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of time fighters be going full throttle, and it's like, no, you got to rest. Your muscles do not develop; they don't grow. You don't get stronger unless you sit up here, unless you rest. And you're talking to someone who I am going to be doing like 1,000-pound challenge sometime up in the spring. Nice. I've been in a 1,000-pound club in high school. I got to it my junior year.
Damn.
I was only like 25 pounds off my sophomore year.
What was your lifts?
So my lifts for high school or all time?
Yeah, let's hear it all time.
So all time. My squat was 595. My bench was 370. Damn. And my deadlift. Now at the time, I held the record at Southern, but it was only for like a season and a half before it got shattered. But yeah, I was able to sit up here. I was able to get 605 on the deadlift.
Damn, man, the squat is what is impressive to me because, like, man, you put that weight on your back and you fucking, like, it's your mobility. If you can't come back up, it's like you just collapse. I mean, I guess it's the same for the bench, but it's something about squatting that much is that's impressive. Oh, for no, sure.
But I did the back squat. Now, for this one here, though, I'm gonna end up doing Zercher, and the reason being is because so Gabe Reed from Head Kicks, right? Real cool dude. Me and him always be trading like back and forth on tips and things like that. Because I know he kind of handles like the strength and conditioning aspect of for Head Kicks and for I believe he coaches wrestling at St. Thomas More. So he also ends up handling that as well. He be making the reels and the videos and all that stuff. And I remember I ended up putting him like, hey man, like we gotta do a Zercher squat challenge. He was like, yeah, Chris, we gonna go for it. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, granted, I haven't like reached back out to him yet. I hope he does watch this here because I was focusing on the book. But needless to say, it will be like that there. Like it's gonna happen sometime up in the spring where I'm gonna end up maxing out again.
Damn.
And yeah, hopefully I can go ahead and I can still like get it. Granted, I don't have my football strength anymore. That much I can rest assured. I don't have that at all. I only have like a fraction of it. And whenever y'all be telling me, y'all be like, Chris, you too damn strong. I'll be like,
You're looking at your former self, thinking of those lifts.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what if I could take the mobility and flexibility and the skills and the IQ that I have now and combine that with the actual football strength that I have?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Monster. That's what I was thinking of whenever you were saying you were like 290 something. Like even at 240, like when I freaking square up with this man to try and do any kind of like takedown, I'm like looking you up and down. I'm like, man, the fucking legs are like tree trunks. I don't know what vulnerability I'm trying to look for because it's not really there. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking pull guard or something, I guess.
Yeah, it's I mean, but don't get me wrong. There's been I think it's only been maybe since I moved back from from Iowa, I think it's only been like maybe like 6 or 7 times that someone has successfully like taken me down.
I was about to say it's probably not often, right?
Oh no, it's not. And whenever it happens, I go whoa, and people be like, "Chris, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, it just don't happen to me very often." It don't. Like, granted, the only person I don't do that with is CJ because I'm sitting up here and I'm like, "Well, no, like I know he can sit up here. I know he can do it." Like, and the way he'll do it, like he'll go for an ankle pick, and once my ankle's off the ground, now I'm like, okay, I'm already knowing like, okay, this is about to go down because I don't get me wrong, in that situation I do my best to try to pull like happy baby guard like Clayton and CJ's already hip to it. He'd be like, nah bro, nah.
He's already anticipating
like
that
already
shit
there. And then I end up in a head and arm choke or a dorse and I just be like, all right, let's do this again.
Yes. Oh man, well that's tight, man. Well, getting towards the end of it, I appreciate you coming and telling me your story, and I'll put a link for the books on this episode in the description and stuff. But appreciate you coming out, man.
Yes, sir. So, no, I appreciate you for having me, though, man. Like I will say, like this was my very first time, like being on the podcast, and it was a very very wonderful experience. I'm not gonna sit up here. I'm not gonna lie. We definitely I definitely would love to sit up here and maybe do one again.
Yeah. Maybe
not like necessarily like maybe yours, but I know like Acadiana Jiu Jitsu has theirs. So, no, man, I definitely would sit up here and love to do this again. Thank you for having me. For me being able to get a chance to, just talk about like martial arts, talk about myself a little bit, write some of my career, and then most importantly, write like the book. So. Folks, Young Warriors Victory is out. It is on Amazon.com. The paper book and the ebook is there. The paper book is also going to be sold on Barnes & Noble as well. And like I say, it's only $10 for the paper book. It's $6 for the ebook on Amazon.com. So please, go ahead, invest in your kids. Like, that's all I can sit up and say. Like, go ahead, invest in your kids. And, yeah, sign them up. We would love to sit up here. We would love to have him at Acadiana Jiu Jitsu and Wolves Den Fitness.
Hell yeah. Well, cool, man. Appreciate it. Till next time, folks. Peace out.
Yes, sir.